What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions Talk, another Lions live stream. It has been a couple of minutes. It has been a while, just over a month since we did one of these last. So I wanted to get back on it. I wanted to get back to streaming because I enjoy it. You guys enjoyed it. It's a fantastic way to just connect with you guys, talk some Lions football. And like I said, I just wanted to get back to it because it has been a while. It's been a minute since we have done one of these. Now, today I wanted to open with some news. I guess not news, but a little I guess news article that came out today, and it's that NFL insiders rank Frank Ragnow as the league's #1 center. Now, this is kind of a big thing because a few weeks ago, obviously, maybe even less than a week ago, a few days ago, we did a news and rumors talking about how Frank Ragnow was left out of PFF's top 50, how Frank Ragnow was, just being, overlooked, was not really being valued correctly by a lot of the NFL media or a lot of NFL analysts. And then this comes out today that NFL insiders, in fact, do rank Frank Ragnow as the league's #1 center. And I believe rank him #4 as far as interior defensive linemen as a whole. I believe, top 10 interior defensive linemen. I believe he ranked top 4 overall out of all linemen, but that may not be correct. To me, he's absolutely top 4. To me, I've said this for many weeks. Frank Ragnow is absolutely, to me, the #1 center in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, officially right now, according to NFL insiders, he is the #1 center in the NFL. Now, you're talking about guys that are better than Frank Ragnow. There aren't very many that come to mind, right? I would say Quentin Nelson, you could probably make the argument Quentin Nelson is the best interior defensive lineman in the entirety of the NFL. He will be there for a long time. But outside of Quentin Nelson, I don't think there's that many people that you can make a true argument or a true case that they are better than Frank Ragnow. John Kapler's in here, says, heck yeah, #1, sweet. Also said training camp is less than 3 weeks away. That is something I'm also extremely excited for. Training camp is less than 3 weeks away. Kicks off July 31st, so we are 20 days away, just 20 days away from NFL training camp kicking off. I could not be more excited. I am so ready to see this team hit the field. I'm so ready for them to put pads on and really, obviously mini camps and OTAs and stuff like that are very important. Obviously, all that is going to tell you some stuff about the team. But I think training camp especially is just one of those things where it's like that's where you truly get to know what your team is about. That's where you truly get to see the stars emerge. That's where you truly start to see the best players. And, you kind of get to see how your team is going to look for the 2021 season or, of course, the upcoming season, depending on what training camp you're watching. But, I think that I'm so excited for training camp to kick off. I have been missing football so much, especially in the month of June and early in July when not a lot is happening, right? Free agency is pretty much over. The draft is way over. Mini camp is even over. Like, it's just the month of June in general is a slow one for football. The month of July is not much better. It's a little bit better, but man, I could not be more excited to get back into football. I am so excited for football to be back. And like you said, 3 weeks is not that long. 3 weeks, 20 days, guys, and football is officially back in the NFL. John Kapler says, sucks that they're mostly all early morning training, like no weekends. At least we get scouted. Yeah, exactly. A little unfortunate that it is so early in the morning, but at the same time, that makes my job easier because that means I can keep the news as up to date as possible. Whereas, if it happened, 5 in the afternoon, it'd be really hard to get a video out because, until the next day. So yeah, it sucks, but that means by the time I'm out of bed, training camp is over, all the takeaways are done with, and I can make a video right then and there, keeping everything up to date. So I mean, yeah, unfortunate. If you want to go see those trainings, of course, you're definitely going to have to get up pretty early, especially if you don't live right outside Allen Park. But, I mean, hey, good thing, good and bad. There's both some takeaways. Just as people start to roll in, getting back to the whole Frank Ragnow thing, ranked the #1 center in the NFL, a guy going into his 4th season of the NFL. Last season, I mean, no doubt guy was top of the NFL. Would have definitely played 1,000 snaps if he didn't miss the Tennessee game with a fractured throat. Only gave up 3 penalties. I don't know what 3 games or what, 3 instances he was penalized, but I can't remember it. So, I don't remember a single penalty that he gave up. So that says something because I remember a lot. And like I said right here, 0 sacks allowed. That's the biggest thing. If you're not allowing hits on the quarterback, then you are doing your job correctly. I mean, Frank Ragnow played arguably the cleanest football of his career. And even a year ago, 2019, he was one of the best centers in the NFL. John Cadler says, yeah, but I got to work. That is unfortunate, but hopefully after work you can come back and watch our Right or Wrong video, or maybe go see Dose of Dion or something, and we'll have some good content up for you guys. Going back to 2019, played just under 1,000 snaps, 4 snaps away from that, 5 penalties, so he cleaned that up this year, 2 sacks. That even right there is a arguably Pro Bowl type season for Frank Ragnow. Not worried about the PFF grade. I'm not going to go there, but I'm not worried about PFF grades. I'm just more worried about the statistics. I mean, that is really good. And, even his rookie season, 1,000 snaps, 1,067, 6 penalties, a little not great. 4 sacks, not fantastic. I believe he was playing right guard this season, or left guard. It was one of the two. He was a good rookie, but he transitioned to center and got better. And then his second year at center in the NFL, because last year was only his second season as a NFL center, and he gave up 0 sacks and was named the #1 center in the NFL. That's why Brad Holmes gave him the contract that he did. That's why he gave him a contract spanning through 2026. Frank Ragnow is here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more seasons. And honestly, the cap hit's not even all that horrible. I mean, $4 million next year is an absolute bargain, absolute steal for Frank Ragnow. $7 million, not a bad price at all. 16, of course, that's where you start to get a little bit expensive, but for a top-end offensive lineman, that's not even that bad of a contract. Then it goes down to 12, back up to 14, back up to 16 again. But, I mean, the contract, it's an expensive one, obviously. I believe it was like a 4-year extension, $54 million total or something like that. Obviously, his full contract is 6 years, right now $71 million. But I believe the extension was for 54. That is not that made him the highest paid center in the NFL. And even then, that's not a bad contract for Frank Ragnow. That is not a bad contract for the best center in the NFL, and arguably the top 2 interior offensive linemen in the NFL. I don't know where you want to put him across all linemen, but it's absolutely top 10. So, I mean, like I said, at age 25, Frank Ragnow's future is blindingly bright, and I could not agree more. I mean, there's just not enough good things to say about Frank Ragnow. Yeah, right here, 4-year, big 4-year, $54 million extension this offseason. Now he's earning national praise from experts all over the league. I mean, again, just not enough good things can be said about Frank Ragnow. He is a phenomenal offensive lineman, definitely by far the best pick of the entire Quinn Trisha era. The one thing that you could thank them for is drafting this man at 20th overall. How he fell to 20th overall or 21st in 2019, I have no idea. But I don't have enough good things to say about the guy. He is just phenomenal. Best player on the team by far. That's all there is to say. He's the best player on the Lions right now, and he's going to be the best player here for a while. As people start to roll in. Of course, if you have questions or you want to talk about anything, leave it in the comments. Let's see. What's Lions training camp? I believe the dates, they're here somewhere. I know the first date is July 31st. That is the first day of training camp for the Lions. This is on the thumbnail, so I'm going to talk about it really, really quickly as people begin to roll in here. So right here, Saturday, July 31st, exclusive to season ticket members. So you will not be able to attend this one, but at the same time, that's the beginning of training camp, 7:30 a.m., July 31st. Mark the calendar. That is officially when football is back. I mean, then they're going to take a day off, August 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Good week of training camp there. Take a couple days off, 9, 10, 11. Take a couple of days off, August 16th, the day after I move into college, which is going to be fun. 16th and 17th, big training camps. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions preseason games start right after that. The Lions' first preseason games, I'm sure they are on here somewhere. If this would go away, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, there's all your dates there yet again, and I believe it's on here somewhere. If not, I can definitely go Detroit, not 3 IONS, Detroit Lions preseason. And their preseason starts August 13th even. So that's even, I mean, so we're going to get to do that one here live from home before I move out, which is good. Of course, then a week later they play the Steelers, and a week after that, not even 6 days later, they play the Colts. And their season opener, if I'm not mistaken, Detroit Lions schedule. Very quiet. September 12th, so they got 2 weeks in there between. Sorry, I keep looking over at the Italy-England game because that just went into overtime. It's 1-1 right now. So if I look a little distracted or look off to the side, that's what I'm watching. September 12th is the first, beginning of the season. That's 2 months away from tomorrow, right? August, September, that is literally 2 months from tomorrow is the kickoff of the NFL's regular season. And in less than 20 days, we're going to have news and all kinds of stuff to come out of training camp, which is going to be awesome. We want to win 10 games. Lions. It's possible. It really, really is possible. Detroit Lions, we're already at the schedule. I don't know why I was going to go look it up again. But, you look, and I know I've gone over this before, but, the 49ers are a winnable football game. That's one win. Green Bay, I think, is a winnable football game. We saw last year, even with Aaron Rodgers there, even with Devontae Adams, in that game, they were pretty much full strength. And, Frank Ragnow fractured his throat or whatever he did. Played a fine game, played perfect in that game, I believe. No pressures, no sacks, no nothing, no penalties. So, from that aspect, we were not 100% at full strength because I know Stafford got hurt partially of the way through that game or, closer to the end of that game even. But, the Lions played them right down to the wire. So the Lions can definitely compete with the Packers, if not beat them, even with Aaron Rodgers there. So that's 2 winnable games. And I'm not saying they can win these games, or I'm not saying they're going to win these games like 100% guaranteed to win. But, week 1 is a winnable game. Week 2 is a winnable game. Week 3 is that'd be a tough one. Baltimore's a very good team. Absolute Super Bowl contender at this point, especially with the weapons they just put around Lamar. I know they got Sammy. I know they got Tylan Wallace. I know they got Rashad Bateman. They're a team that's going to look very, very dangerous, but the Lions every single year seem to have one of those games where it's like they shouldn't win that game. They're absolutely not the better football team, and yet somehow they find, but on that given day, they play better football. So you could technically, I guess, potentially see that, being that trap game for the Ravens, early in the season. Lions are coming off 2 big wins, one on primetime, one open, season opener, back in Ford Field, second game back. All that energy is still there. I think this is one of the less likely games the Lions could win, but I think it's still possible. I do have this as a loss, but again, possible win here. Chicago is not a better football team than the Detroit Lions, I don't believe. Motor City Sports says, my bad for being late. No worries. You're here now. Only a couple minutes into the stream. You are not too late, and we are looking to be here for a while. So I'm not worried about it. I'm glad you were able to make it on. I know it's been a while. It's been over a month, actually. I believe June 4th was the last time we streamed. So it's been a while. I've been lacking. I've been letting people down. So I got to get back to that. But getting back to Derek's comment about 10 wins, Chicago is a very realistic 3rd win. Vikings is a possible 4th win. Bengals should be your 5th win, their 5th winnable game. LA, that might be a tough game, but at the same time, we don't know. Stafford is obviously a very talented quarterback, but we don't know how the new system is going to look we don't know how Stafford's going to look in LA. I'd assume very well this is a game that likely the Lions are not going to win, but I think the Lions can win this game. The only thing I'm going to say about this game is Frank Ragnow versus Aaron Donald is going to be the best matchup of the entire season for the Detroit Lions. Aaron Donald is a historic talent. Aaron Donald is an elite player. He is the best player in the NFL, but I think Frank Ragnow's going to give him a run for his money in this game. And Aaron Donald might win the matchup, but Frank Ragnow's going to get a couple punches in there. Joe says, do you play Madden at all? I do. I do play Madden quite a bit. I'm excited for the new one to come out. I've been not so happy with EA, but they're marketing this new game very well. I'm very excited to see what they're doing with franchise and stuff like that. So I do play. I play on Xbox. Maybe I'll put that on Twitter. I'll put my Xbox gamer tag if anybody wants to come hop on Madden for a bit. But I do play Madden. Oh, Italy. Oh, Italy almost scored. That's tough. I'm rooting for Italy. So if anybody's rooting for England, get out of here. I play on Xbox. I play on Xbox. So I'm hoping to get the new Xbox at some point, but that's expensive and tough to find. Motor City Sports says Tigers blew a 4-run lead yesterday, and today, LMAO, I am pissed. I would be too. I'm not a big baseball fan, but I've watched a couple. I hear they're doing better recently. I've heard like the last month or so they've been a lot better. But a blowing lead seems to be a Detroit pastime, especially after the Matt Patricia era. So that is unfortunate, but I'd be frustrated too. But I mean, I know you're a Lions fan, but that's exactly what Lions fans have been going through for 3 years now. So I guess nothing new. I think the Lions will go 10-7 or 3-14. That seems to be the big consensus. It's like either the Lions are going to be really good or they're going to be really bad. And a lot of people are siding more towards that 3-14 record. But like I said, Bengals can be 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be your fifth win. Eagles should be a win. That's 6. I mean, realistic. I mean, seriously realistic wins. Steelers, I think, are not going to be that great of a team this year. I think they're going to be fine. Their defense is good, but their offensive line is questionable. And Big Ben, I mean, I think he's still a solid player, but definitely not the Big Ben from 5-6 years ago. That's a 6th or 7th win. I'm losing track. The Browns probably not going to win that game, but you never know. Bears again, I think we split with the Bears. Vikings, I think we split with them. Broncos, I think we win. The Broncos are a good team, but especially if they don't have Aaron Rodgers, if they just stick with Drew Lock, I think the Lions should win that game as well. The Cardinals look like they're going to be a good team on paper, but I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury. That's a winnable game. The Falcons, we beat them last year. It was a close game. Kyle Pitts is going to be tough, but I think that we can pull out a win there, especially without Julio Jones being there anymore. Seahawks, I like the Seahawks. I think they're a good team. Obviously, with Russell Wilson, they're going to be fine. But that, I think, is a winnable game as well. It might be a tough one to win, but I think they could pull out that game. And the Packers again. Late in the season, the Lions always seem to play the Packers really, really tough, regardless of if they have anything to play for or not. And, I think that's a winnable game as well. So the only games that I would say are truly like I wouldn't hold my breath is probably Cleveland, maybe LA, and probably Baltimore. So there's really just 3 games on the schedule that I would say the Lions really have a very low chance of winning. Derek Watson says, I don't know how many said it, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That does actually mean a lot, and maybe that's sentimental and sappy, but I do appreciate each and every one of you for coming around. I appreciate every one of you for sticking around, and I know I've been inconsistent recently, and I absolutely when I moved to college, and I got to figure out how to set all that up. I definitely plan on continuing this. I absolutely can plan on making more videos and live streaming. It might take a couple weeks to figure that out, especially with the collegiate season starting, especially with just the big change in general of moving off. It's going to be a big change, and there might be some inconsistencies here and there, but I promise I will figure out a system, and I will do my very best to get out news as fast and as efficiently as possible for you guys. I love this channel. I love each and every person that subscribes, each and every person that shows up daily, or, even if you show up once. I appreciate every single person here. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed, everybody that has liked the video. So I'm going to do my very best to continue and get as much content out and as much quality content out as possible. But you might have to bear with me for a couple weeks because it's just going to be a change. It's just going to be a matter of adjustment. So we will get through. We will figure it out. Motor City says, I predict 7-10. That's about what I'm predicting for the Lions. I'd say 7-10 or 8-9 is probably my range right now. I know before I said 7-9. I think 9's a little bit of that unrealistic. I think 10 is really pushing your luck. But, yeah, I mean, I think 7-10 is fairly realistic, right? I mean, you look at the Niners. I think that's going to be a game the Lions win. even if you're a pessimist, I think you say we split with the Bears, so that's 2. You beat the Bengals, that's 3. You split the Vikings, that's 4. You beat the Eagles, that's 5. Split. I think Denver's, a game we win, that's 6. And probably the Falcons is 7. Those are probably the weaker teams on our schedule right now. So that right there, I mean, that's your 7 games. And of course, I'm sure the Lions will have an upset here and there, and I'm sure the Lions will, give up an upset here and there, and they'll lose to a team they shouldn't. But, I think when it's all said and done, they'll probably average out to about 7 wins. I think that's very realistic. Would love to do a cable video with you, man. I would love to do a video with you. I'm down for that. Absolutely down to do a video with any of you. If you guys have your own channels, if you guys want to start your own thing, I'd love to I don't want to say give back because I don't have that much to give, but I'd love to, collaborate with anybody that wants to do it. So for sure. What's happening? Not much. Just hitting here, talking some Detroit Lions football, looking at the schedule, talking about Frank Ragnow, the Lions center, being named you guys can't actually see that, so I was just kidding. Frank Ragnow being the number 1 center in the NFL, doing Frank Ragnow things, knowing exactly how good he is. Just hanging out, talking some Lions football. It's been a minute, so I got to get back here, and I got to represent. I got to get my Lions flow going again. And I get my stuff back. So that's all we're doing. We're just talking some Lions football. This is one I saw earlier. This is one I haven't read this article yet, but it is: will the Detroit Lions be as run heavy as everybody thinks? I think yes. My answer would be yes. Just based on how they seem to be building the team, right? Building through the trenches, getting, I think they have 5 or 6 running backs on the roster right now, plus Jason Kabinda. I mean, you have a lot of running backs there. You didn't really seem all that concerned with getting a wide receiver early in the draft, which I think was the right move because they're going to be more of a run-heavy offense. And, I think part of that too is like being a run-heavy offense doesn't necessarily mean – it means obviously that you're going to run the ball a lot, but I think a lot of run heavy or a lot of what they're going to do as well is going to be based off of play action. Obviously faking the run to set up the pass. I think that's going to be a big part of their offense as well. And I think everybody's building up to like, oh, they're going to run. And then everybody's going to sell up for the run because of this offensive line, because of DeAndre Swift, because of Jamal Williams, and even to an extent, Jermar Jefferson or possibly Jared Goff. And I think it's really going to open up play action for this team. I think just the narrative of them being able to run the football, of them building to run the football, is going to open up that play action, is going to open up the rest of the offense, even without them really necessarily having to establish the run, just because everybody thinks the Lions are going to be such a run-heavy offense. Frog says 8 to 10 wins this year. I think that's realistic. I think that's possible. Probably on the higher end, I would say, of projections for the Detroit Lions. That's kind of, my 8 wins is kind of my peak for the Detroit Lions this year. I think 7 to 8 wins is possible and realistic. I think 10 wins is probably getting more towards that optimistic, and I'm going to give them a game here, even though they probably shouldn't get a game here kind of a mentality. But I think 7 to 8, possibly even 9 wins is fairly realistic, especially if, if Aaron Rodgers just straight up retires. I think we get 9 wins. If he goes to Denver, I think that's probably 8. But, I think it's going to fluctuate around there. 7 to 9, 7 to 8 wins, I think, is going to be really possible. At the trade deadline, do you think we will go after anyone, or are we more likely to sell for picks and go full retool? I think that's a very interesting question, because I think it's really going to depend how the Lions look before the trade deadline. If you were to ask me right now, I would say the Lions are probably a team that's just going to stay put, right? I think the Lions are a team that they know that they are not Super Bowl contenders this year, but they also know that they have pieces that can help them become playoff contenders or even Super Bowl contenders in the near future being 2022 and 2023. The Lions know that. The Lions recognize that, and they recognize that, it is a process. It's not a 1-year fix. It's not a 1-year, patch up job where we're going to get, a flashy tool. We're going to get one big name and that's going to fix all of our problems. And I know that they recognize that because they didn't draft Devontae Smith. I know they recognize that because they didn't draft a wide receiver until the third day of the draft, and they didn't even address anything outside the trenches until the late day two. They didn't even address anything outside the front seven on either offensive or defensive line. They didn't address anything outside of that. They did not address a skill position until the 101st pick, and that tells me that they understand, one, that the Lions are not a wide receiver or a skill position away from being truly competitive. And two, it tells me that they understand that it's going to be a process, and they understand that they are building the foundation now so that they can build the flashy, fun stuff next year or 2 years in the future. So I don't think the Lions are going to be super active at the trade deadline regardless. I think at the trade deadline, it's more likely the Lions just sit put. They stay put. They don't do anything. But, if the Lions, I believe the trade deadline's after week 8. Maybe, I don't know how that is affected with the 17 games. I don't know if it's pushed up a game or not. But, I believe the trade deadline is around week 8. And if the Lions are 5-3, and they're just missing that really big time player, right? If the Lions are way better than everybody thinks that they're going to be, if the Lions start 5-3 or 6-2, and they're looking like a really, really good football team, and they seem, and Brett Holmes sees like, after building this foundation, we are one piece away. After building the foundation, having a really good offensive line, we truly are, that Odell Beckham Jr. or that, big time wide receiver away. I think that Brett Holmes is going to make that deal. I have no doubt that Brad Holmes is willing and capable of making a big-time blockbuster trade midway through the season, but I don't think it's going to happen unless the Lions truly get off to a really good start. And, unless they truly show, unless Dan Campbell and his coaching staff shows that they are, legitimately just one piece away. If that answers your question. So I think they're going to be more of a sit and wait kind of a team. I don't see them making a lot of moves unless, of course, I truly don't see them being sellers. I think worst case, or I think the farthest they'll go is they're just going to sit and wait and develop their guys. But I think, the I don't say the best case scenario or the biggest change that they can make, but I think possibly you could see them be buyers if they're truly a much better team than people believe they're going to be. Frog says, with our coaching staff, I believe that our defense is going to be better than what people think. I agree too. I think the scheme fit. I think the scheme change, the players that they've brought in, primarily being Levi and Aleem, are going to be disruptive. I think that they are going to allow, players like Trey Flowers and Romeo Okwara to see just more one-on-one matchups than anything else. And I believe that's going to make the Lions a better football team, right? You're going to see, this defensive line get more one-on-one matchups. That's going to allow these defensive linemen to get more pressures, get more sacks, and get to the quarterback that much faster. And as a result, the quarterback's going to be that much more uncomfortable. He's going to make a couple more error throws. That's going to allow your secondary to jump passes easier. That's going to open up everything else for the defense. Very similarly to how play action can open up the passing game, pressure on the defense can open up everything in the secondary. So, I agree. I think this coaching staff is going to make everything look a lot better. I think these drafted players on the defensive line are going to make everything look a lot better and a lot cleaner. And as a result, they're going to play better, and they are going to make everybody else better. Sup says 1 Whoa, I am late. A little bit, but hey, you know what? It is all good. We are back talking Detroit Lions football. If anybody's late, it's me. I'm about a month overdue for a live stream, so no downside here, no hard feelings. Imagine if this team was good this year. I mean, it's not the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard. Like, I don't think the Lions are playoff contenders, but if you were to tell me at the end of the season the Lions went 9-8 and snuck in as the 7th seed, I wouldn't even necessarily be that shocked. I wouldn't, if somebody were to tell me that the Lions make the playoffs come January, I wouldn't even be necessarily shocked. So if you tell me they go 9-8 and they sneak in as a 7 seed, they sneak in as the second, maybe even the third team in the North. I think 9-8 is probably good enough for the number 2 spot in the North. If you tell me they finish second in the North this season with 9-8 and they sneak in, 6, 7 seed, I would believe you. Now, if you told me the Lions go 14 and if you told me the Lions go 14-3 and they're the number 1 seed, they win the North, probably not. I'm not going to believe that. But sneaking into the playoffs and having a borderline or, arguably good season is not the most unrealistic thing I've ever heard. With coaching, our DBs are better than people think. I agree. Aaron Glenn and Aubrey Pleasant are two of the best in the game, best in the business. I mean, they're gonna make everybody better. They've already showed that, even in minicamp, Jeff Okuda has shown strides. So, I think that you're right. I think coaches are gonna make a big difference. And, with the coaching upgrade and the defensive line upgrade, I think you're gonna see the most improvement in the DVs. We need Okuda to really make that big step. It sounds like from everything I've heard, he's started to make that big step. It sounds like, he's one, developed a lot mentally, one, or two, gotten really, really healthy, gotten back to like, true peak health, to where he's not struggling with groin, he's not struggling with ankle or anything like that, where he's just truly 100% back on the field, ready to go. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's gotten healthier. It sounds like he's developed from the mental side of the game. And with that being the case, it sounds like just those two things in general have really allowed him to take a big step, even as early, even being obvious in mini camp and stuff like that. Hard pass on OBJ and N'Keal Harry. Like I said in the video the other day, I'd probably pass on OBJ unless it's like for a mid-round pick. I think for like a third-round pick, OBJ's talent is just too much to pass up on. But somebody also brought up the point that, do you really want to put OBJ's personality and I wouldn't say like ball hog mentality, but he's definitely a wide receiver, definitely a player that likes the ball in his hands and likes the opportunity to make plays for his team. So, at the same time, I think for a mid-round pick, that talent's too much to pass up on. But anything other than that, I'd say probably just leave him in Cleveland. And then N'Keal Harry, if it's not for a 7th-round pick, I don't really want him. That's some cap. There ain't no way. Hold up. I'll go to it in just a second. He said, look up the Bears schedule. That is going to be, I'll do that in just a second. He says, we still have a gaping hole at safety. I don't think the hole's as big as a lot of people think it is, but I think it's probably one of the weaker positions. There's no way. ESPN. If anybody sees that, Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the Denver Broncos for Drew Lock, their 2022 first-round pick, and Courtland Sutton. That would suck. That would really, really suck. If Courtland Sutton and Devontae Adams are on the same team, that's going to be rough, regardless of who's throwing to them. I don't believe it. There's no way. There's no way. I'm checking Twitter on my phone as well. Bruh, unreal. I hope this is not real. Like, genuinely, I knew it would take a lot. I genuinely did. I'm not seeing it. I feel like you're trolling me. I really do, Motor City Sports. I feel like you're capping. There's no way. This would be all over. This would be all through the DSA chat. This would be everywhere. I think you're lying. I think that you are capping. Yeah, there's no way. Nuh-uh, dude. Quit it. You're absolutely not telling the truth. I will continue to monitor Twitter, and I will continue to check this, because if this actually happened, it'll be any minute, and then this is on the news. Until then, I will go check the Bears schedule, and I got to go fix something just really quickly. Give me like 2 seconds. I just had to close my door because it blew open. I'll go back to what you said earlier. Look at Broncos Twitter bet. I guess I'll do it on here. Twitter. Ain't no way. Yeah, Green Bay, I mean, they would take a stupid cap hit, but that's not, I don't think, the biggest thing they're worried about. All right, I will. I swear. If this is real, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be so upset. My computer broke a while ago, and it's still kind of catching back up to speed. All right, I'm going to Broncos Twitter, dude. I'm not playing these games, I swear. I will go to the Denver Broncos. I figured, dude. I was like, there's no way that wouldn't be all over everything. I was like, there's no way. I knew it, dude. I knew it. You had me for a second. I'm not even going to lie. You did. You had me for a second. But as soon as I went to Twitter and I saw it, I was like, there's no way. Like, it would be everywhere. It would be everywhere. You troll, dude. I think you're funny. You're hilarious. Green Bay would take a massive cap hit. That's true. From what you said earlier, was that rude to interrupt? No, we're good. We're totally fine. We are okay. I do want to go look up the Bears schedule though. Chicago Bears schedule. We're chilling. We're chilling. That's just how the game's played, I guess, and I got played, so it is what it is. I listened to 6 other YouTubers. I haven't heard that. Yeah, he's cap. I knew it, dude. I was I was skeptical, and I was like, I really wanted to believe you, but at the same time, I really didn't want to believe that they give up. The only thing I hated about that trade that you like, that was very realistic. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I wouldn't be shocked if that was the actual move, but God, the only thing I would hate about that trade would be Courtland Sutton to the Packers. That would hurt me inside. You gotta play him, jeez. You got me. You got me. I won't even lie. Looking at the Bears, Dolphins, Bills, Titans. I mean, that's a rough preseason, let alone anything else. That's funny. They open against LA, which sucks. That's probably a loss. Especially if I think that's a loss regardless, because if Andy Dalton's playing, that's definitely a loss. And if Justin Fields is playing the first game against Aaron Donald, that would be tough for him. No, if Rodgers is gone, Adams said he's gone too. That's true too. That could really suck for the Packers. But I don't know if I don't know if Adams would be gone right away though, because I don't think they could handle getting rid of Cap from both Adams and Rodgers. I feel like Adams would have to play out the rest of his contract, which is just one more year. I believe Adams is going into the last year of his contract, but how crazy is it that the Lions could go from facing Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams twice a year to not playing either of them at all? Like, that would be just a dream come true. I got told by Bears fans, we will only win one game. Well, Bears fans, I think, are a little bit delusional. So that is unfortunate. I know some good Bears fans, but I also know a lot of Bears fans that I would say are very biased towards their team and aren't necessarily the greatest. What do you think of Sewell basically calling out Aaron Donald, saying that he wants to go against him? I love that mentality. I love that mentality. If you're a player that doesn't want to play Aaron Donald, then I don't want you on the team. You know, if there's a single player on the Lions that is scared to play Aaron Donald, then they should not be starting for my team, because, I mean, regardless of if they're going to win that battle is yet to be said. Penei Sewell may get, Penei Sewell may get his welcome to the NFL, welcome rookie moment against Aaron Donald and just get absolutely torched and torn apart. But his mentality is in the right spot. His competitiveness, his toughness, everything you want to say about him, mentally, he is in the right spot if he's calling out Aaron Donald, because I would not have the confidence to do that, even if I was Penei Sewell, the generational talent. But I love it. I love that he's I'm sure he didn't call him out. It's like, Aaron Donald, you suck. But I mean, that happens every year too, right? I think it was CJ Henderson last year saying like he wants to play DeAndre Hopkins before he got traded. Obviously, you're like, rookies always say that they want to play veterans because they want to play the best. I love that. I love that competitive spirit. This one Bears fan said Walter Payton is better than Barry Sanders. That is some cap. That is false. That is not true. Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, and I will hear nothing else about it. Nothing else needs to be said. Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, and there's no argument. I'm pretty sure Emmitt Smith even said that Barry was better than him, but maybe I'm making that up. But Barry Sanders is the most talented running back of all time. He is the greatest running back of all time, and if he played behind any talent, if he played behind a good offensive line like Dallas had, he would have won a Super Bowl, and he would have absolutely, if he was in the same situation as Emmitt Smith, played exactly the same games, exactly the same amount of carries behind the exact same talent Emmitt Smith had, Barry Sanders would be the NFL's all-time leading rusher, and I don't think it would be particularly close. Not that Emmitt Smith's not great. Emmitt Smith is a fantastic player, but Barry Sanders was just simply in a whole different league. Who's more in trouble, the Bears or the Packers? I think long-term the Packers are in more trouble, especially if they have to trade Aaron Rodgers, because they're going to take such a significant cap hit. If Jordan Love somehow turns out to be the next Aaron Rodgers, that would break my heart. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Packers right now, especially with the Rodgers situation and Devontae Adams saying, if Rodgers is out, I'm out. I think the Packers are in the worst situation in the North right now, at least for like the future. Um, who's gonna win the North? Probably Minnesota, but I think the North is gonna be pretty weak this year. Especially if Rodgers is out. I think the North could be won with 10 games. No, he just said Donald's the best and wants to face him. Again, great mentality. I love it. I love that mentality for him. Can Swell even play Donald? I mean, they play the Rams. Donald kind of plays everywhere. Donald's more of an interior pass rusher, but he has played on the edge before and obviously has the talent to do so. I would be shocked if he got very many reps against Aaron Donald, but it's very possible for them to match up, at least on a couple snaps in the Rams game. The only better running back better than Barry was Bo, and his career got cut short. Bo was better, lol, and he played half seasons other than our boy Barry, number one. I mean, yeah, you want to make that argument that Bo Jackson is the most talented running back of all time. I think that's fair to say. Bo knows what he's doing. Bo was arguably the best or arguably the most talented running back ever. The only reason I don't put him up there is because obviously he didn't play a long time. I don't know how long he played. I'm not sure how many seasons Bo Jackson did play for the Raiders. And the only reason I wouldn't put Bo Jackson above Barry Sanders is because Barry Sanders was able to play longer, right? And even Barry Sanders, his career was cut short. So I think that's kind of another thing that's like, they both didn't play as long as they could. But yeah, because Bo Jackson only played 4 seasons. Is that the right Bo Jackson? That has to be. Yeah. I mean, like Bo Jackson literally never broke 1,000 yards. That's crazy. I didn't know that. And I mean, granted, they only played 11 games. So obviously, if there was a 16 or a 17 game season, he would have broken 1,000 yards every single year. Yeah, I mean, average 5.4 yards a carry. Great running back, 100%. But he made 173 carries in 11 games in 89. That's crazy. But I put Barry above Bo just because Bo never cracked 1,000 and Bo never, only played 4 years. But at the same time, if you want to put Bo Jackson as the number one or you want to put him as the most talented, that's not a poor argument. Sanders is the GOAT, absolutely. Got no love for love. I mean, I think he's an okay quarterback, but dude, if he somehow becomes like the next Aaron Rodgers, I'd be so mad. I'd be so upset. I'd honestly say the Care Bears are in more trouble. I mean, I think that the Bears are not in a great situation, but I do think Justin Fields is a very good, very young, and obviously very talented quarterback. They got him as a steal at 11th, and with a true franchise quarterback, if he does truly work out, he's gonna be a threat in the NFC for a while. I think from that standpoint, the Bears are in a better quarterback situation than the Packers. Yes, Allen Robinson doesn't really want to be. Well, at least it kind of seems like he wants to move on from the Bears, but that could all change with Justin Fields. That, all those comments, all that drama was before they drafted Justin. So with a new quarterback, if he plays any better, if Justin Fields is a top quarterback, even top 15, obviously has a bigger arm than Trubisky. I'd say he's more accurate, more mobile. He's basically a Mitch Trubisky if Mitch Trubisky was just better at everything. So from that standpoint, I'd say that Allen Robinson might stay just because of Justin Fields. Ty Montgomery is a very good player. Obviously, Khalil Mack's older, but he's still very good. Roquan's still very good. Eddie Jackson, very good. A lot of younger play. I mean, not super young. Obviously, Khalil Mack's older, but Eddie Jackson's still relatively young. I believe only drafted in 2017, 2018. You have Roquan, who was drafted in 2018. I'm trying to think who else. They have a couple of young stars. Jamar Johnson. Their cornerback, their second-year cornerback, played at Utah. Something Johnson, but I can't think of his first name right now. He's a very good player. So I think they have some young cornerstone pieces, Whereas the Packers really don't. The Packers, like, they just lost their All-Pro center. They're about to lose their Hall of Fame quarterback. They're about to lose their, on pace, on trajectory to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver. So they're going to be left with, David Bakhtiari in his mid-30s. I'll get to the Bears schedule in just a second, I promise. But I totally just lost train of thought. Oh yeah, the Packers, they're going to be stuck with Jordan Love and Marquez Valdez-Scantling as your wide receiver 1, unless I'm missing somebody, but I don't think I am. I mean, you're going to have Aaron Jones, who's, I believe 28, 29. You're going to have Bakhtiari, who's in his 30s. Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, I believe, are both in their 30s. Adrian Amos is a little older. I don't think he's quite 30 yet, but I think he's like 28, 29. They're just an older core and are on the verge of losing 2 Hall of Fame talents. And I just think that puts them in a worse spot, but it's very possible. It is a black mark on Holmes if Fields pans out. Yes and no. It obviously depends if Penei Sewell becomes the generational talent, all-pro, Joe Thomas clone that people think he's going to be, then I'm not ever going to. If Brad Holmes drafts a perennial Pro Bowler, all-pro player, I'm never going to look back on that and say that is a bad pick. But if Justin Fields becomes the greatest quarterback to ever live, then I think it's possible. Italy's in PKs right now with England, so I'm going to keep checking over that. But moving on to the Bears, I think they lose week 1, so that's 0-1. I'm going to get a piece of paper just so I remember. Oh, let's go. Italy just scored their first PK. Big dubs. Let's see. I just need a blank piece of paper. Oh, those are all not. That's fine. I'll just use the book that I write all my scripts in. So we'll just put, just so I can keep track of this. I'll get to it in a second. I hate Aaron Jones' contract. I thought that was a dumb contract when they signed it. Personally, I mean, I just don't know how you pay a running back over an all-pro center. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know Aaron Jones is good. I think Aaron Jones is a top 10 running back, but I just don't quite see how you can justify paying him that money and not paying your center. Because, yeah, the weapon is nice. Oh, what a PK by Harry Kane. I'm a big soccer fan, too. So anyway, so getting to the Bears, I think they take an L week 1 versus the Rams. They definitely beat the Bengals. Bengals are not as good of a team as Chicago. They lose to Cleveland. That's 2 losses. I think they split with Detroit, so I'm going to give them 1 win here at Soldier Field. Like I've gone over this before. I think this is Justin Fields' first game. I think Dalton gets benched after Cleveland. I think Justin Fields starts this game, and I think he starts off really hot versus the Lions. I don't think our coaching staff is ready for it. So the Bears start off 2-2. I think they beat the Raiders as well. I think they do. See, the Packers is hard to predict. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to leave, so I think they beat the Packers as well. Oh, no. They just got saved. That's crazy. What was I at? So 0-1, 1-1, 0-2, or 1-2, 2-2, 3-2. I think they split versus the Packers. So we'll give them an L here. Give them an L. They definitely lose to the Bucs. They probably lose to the 49ers. The 49ers at this point kind of have their groove back. If they're healthy, I think they win. The Steelers is kind of an interesting one. But again, I think Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks are going to have a really good day versus the Steelers offensive line. So I'll even give them the win there. And again, I'm trying not to be biased as possible, right? The Ravens, they take a loss. Right now they're at 4-7. The Lions, they take another loss there. I gave them the first win. I think the Lions bounce back there. The Cardinals, I think they lose again. JJ and Cardell Jones are going to be great. Kyler Murray and D-Hop are going to feast on Johnson. The Packers, they win, I believe. I can't remember if I gave them a win or a loss, but let's just say I gave them a loss the first time. I think I did. So Packers there. And then the Vikings, they probably lose to the Vikings at home, and then they beat them on the road. So I'll give them a loss for one, and I'll give them a victory for the other. The Seahawks, they lose to, and the Giants, they beat. So that would leave them at a 7-10 record. And obviously, okay, I'm like half paying attention, but I just saw Italy scored again, so big dubs. Let's see Italy win the Euros. That'd be sick. He says, might sound crazy, but the Lions are in the best position. I think the Lions are in the best position for the future. I don't think they're going to win the North this year, but I think they are in the best position for the future in the entirety of the North because they have a young foundation, right? They have their whole offensive line, defensive line really set for the future, which is good, which I don't think any other team in the North can say. They have a young running back, which is good. A lot of North teams have that. Aaron Jones, Ty Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, top running back division in the NFL as far as RB1. They're all really good. Wide receivers, the Lions probably don't have the best, but if the Packers lose Devontae Adams, which seems likely, they're going to be even, in a worse situation. England just missed. Let's go. That means they're both 2-2 on penalties. But the Packers will be in the worst wide receiver situation in the North when Devontae Adams doesn't come back. Allen Robinson might stay. He might go. If he leaves, the Bears still have Darnell Mooney, who's solid. I think that's their wide receiver too. I'm blanking on who else there could be. I know Anthony Miller's good games and not good other games. And then the Minnesota Vikings have Justin Jefferson, so they're going to be fine for a while. And Adam Thielen's fine for a while too. But overall, like the Lions have probably the best structure right now. And if they stack up on wide receivers and skill positions next offseason, especially young, talented guys, I think they are in the best position in the entirety of the North. Like genuinely, I think they are. Italy just went up 3-2 on PKs. Let's go. Let's get it. But yeah, as far as the Bears schedules, I have them at 7-10 just based off a very quick preview. But they also could get swept by the Packers. They might get swept by the Vikings, I think is possible. So that would leave them at like 5 or 6 wins. I think the Bears are probably a 5 to 7 win team. I like some of their foundational pieces. I like Justin Fields. Obviously, Allen Robinson is very good. Obviously, Ty Montgomery is very solid. Their offensive line isn't crazy, although I do like the Tevin Jenkins pick. Their defense is aging, right? Akeem Hicks is old. Khalil Mack is old. Italy's keeper just made a phenomenal save on a PK. Great stuff. Oh, wait, does that mean? Oh, that means Italy's deciding PK is right here. Oh, let's go. Sancho, you're bum. I mean, a phenomenal save. I mean, just keeper guessed right. But yeah, I think the Bears are probably a 5 to 7 win team, which means the Lions will finish ahead of them in the polls based off my projections. Now that we're here, I kind of want to do the rest of them. So Bears, I have at 5-7, or 5 to 7 wins, I should say. So Bears, I have 5 to 7. Green Bay, I'm gonna go to next. I'm just gonna go through the rest of the North just because now I'm curious. Because I have the Lions 7-9, right? So I have them finishing ahead of the Bears unless worst case scenario happens and the Lions underachieve, the Bears overachieve, and some tiebreaker shenanigans go on. But my dad just yelled in the background, so I don't know what's going on. I'm watching Italy's deciding PK right here. Oh, and he hit off the post. Oh, that's so unlucky. Pickford got lucky. I mean, he tipped it off the post, but wow. That's unfortunate. Now I know my dad yelled. I'm going to assume for this breakthrough. Oh, my God. What a save. I'm going to assume for this breakdown for this one, I'm going to assume Aaron Rodgers is gone, but I'm going to assume that Devontae Adams is still there. So they're going to start versus the Saints. That is an L. I think the Saints are just a very good team. I know they don't have Drew Brees anymore, but let's see. This might be the last PK. I'm not sure. I've kind of lost track a little bit. Oh, and he saved it again. Oh my God, Italy's keeper is just an absolute unit. What a guy. But I think they lose game 1 to the Saints without Rodgers. I think they lose game 2 to the Lions without Rodgers. They might lose game 3 to the Niners without Rodgers. With that healthy Niners front. The Steelers, I think that they win that game. I truly don't think the Steelers are going to be that good. The Bengals, they win there. They advance to 2-3. Chicago, like I said, I think they split. I had them winning this game, so they start 3-3. Washington, I think, is a tough one. I think Washington is a coin flip personally. But I think that front seven's really going to feast on the fact that Green Bay's offensive line, I mean, they lost their big time center. I think that's really going to hurt them. I'll give them a loss there even. Cardinals, again, I'll give them a loss. Jair's great. Jair's a player that I think is very good. But again, the Cardinals, I think, are a talented team. I just think Cliff Kingsbury is not great. The Chiefs, they lose again. The Chiefs, they get smacked by. The Seahawks, they lose to. The Vikings, they split at home and away. LA, they lose to. Chicago, I'll have them winning. Oh, wait, no, I had them beating Chicago the first time. So they'll actually lose to Chicago here. That means they're 3-10 right now. That's unfortunate. The Packers, dude, the Packers have such a brutal schedule, actually. That's 2 more losses to Ravens and Browns. Vikings and Lions, we'll just say they split there. That's a 5-12 team. And like, I genuinely try not to be super biased, but I don't like without Rodgers, I don't see them beating Saints. I think the Lions win week 2. I think a healthy Niners team beats the Green Bay team. I mean, we saw that in the playoffs, even with Aaron Rodgers, they got, trampled. The Steelers are a possible win. The Bengals, they should win. The Bears, they should win, at least one. Washington's a coin flip. Arizona's a coin flip. Chiefs is not really that close to me. Seahawks, maybe a coin flip, but I give the edge to Seattle. Minnesota, they probably they probably lose in Minnesota. The Packers do. They probably lose to LA. They probably split with the Bears. They definitely lose to Baltimore and Cleveland. That's tough. I mean, that's really unfortunate. One Pride 40 says, I have to say the Packers are kind of a mess. The Packers are in trouble. Hey, bud, take care. I'm going to go some retro video games with a friend online and work. Hey, have fun, dude. It was really good seeing you. Really good talking to you. Great. I mean, I'm glad you were here. I believe Italy just won the Euros, which is sick. Because Italy's keeper is a machine. That's basically all I got. No way the Packers are a 5-win team. Like, it doesn't seem like they should be. You know what I mean? Yeah, Italy just won. Let's go. But like genuinely, they're not beating Cleveland. They're not beating Baltimore. They're not beating LA. They're not beating Seattle. They're not beating Kansas City. They're not beating Washington. They're not beating a healthy Niners team. They're not beating a healthy Saints team. If you told me the Packers were a 5-win team, I wouldn't believe you. But going through their schedule, I mean, the North is a brutal schedule this year. I will say that. But genuinely, like the Packers are, and again, this was without Rodgers, right? So if you have Aaron Rodgers, they probably beat the Lions at least once, which would make them 6 wins. They probably beat the Steelers, but I think I had them before. They probably beat Washington with a healthy Rodgers. They maybe beat Arizona. Like if they have Rodgers, I think they're closer to probably 8 to 10 win team. But without Rodgers, they're probably 5 to 6 wins. Like they have a tough schedule, and with honestly, a rookie quarterback in Jordan Love, I just don't see them winning very many games. And maybe that's me being biased in the back of my head, but I'm trying not to be biased. And I genuinely just think that they may not have that successful of a season. And then we go to Minnesota. And let's see. Let's just go Minnesota. So they beat the Bengals probably. I'll give them a win versus the Bengals. The Bengals might get swept by the North, low key. The Cardinals, I think, is a tough one. I think that's a coin flip, but I'll give the edge to Minnesota just because Arizona's secondary is a little questionable. I'll give that. I think Justin Jefferson makes some big plays. Seattle, again, kind of a coin flip. I'll give them a loss here. I think that Seattle's a good team, but I think Minnesota, I think they're both good teams, but I think the Seahawks will pull it out in the end. The Cleveland Browns, I think they lose to. Cleveland, I think, is going to be really good this year, if you can't tell. The Lions, again, I think they split. So I believe this is the home game at Minnesota. So I'll give them their win at home. The Panthers, I think they beat. The Cowboys with Dak Prescott, I think, will be close, but I think they beat the Cowboys just because the Cowboys kind of have a weaker secondary and a weaker defense overall. Baltimore, I think they lose to. LA Chargers, I think they lose to. The Packers, I think they split, so I'll give them, I don't know, I'll give them a win here. The Niners, I think they lose to the Niners if the Niners are healthy, so that's 6-5. I think they lose to the Lions here. I think the Lions split, so that's 6-6. The Steelers, I genuinely think that the Vikings will beat the Steelers. I think they'll beat the Bears once. I think they'll compete with LA, but I think inevitably they're going to lose. And then these last two are going to be losses as well because I gave them wins earlier in the season. So, I mean that puts them at 9-8, which I think is pretty realistic for the Vikings. I think 9-10 wins is pretty realistic for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson's great. Adam Thielen is great. Dalvin Cook is phenomenal. Kirk Cousins is underrated. I'll say it. Kirk Cousins is an underrated player. Harrison Smith is still good. I don't know what's going on with Danielle Hunter, but I think he'll be back. I genuinely, and I believe, no, Eric Wilson's gone, but Kendricks is still there. He's really good. I think the Vikings are probably the favorites to win this division this year. But again, like that's 9-10 wins. 9-10 wins, I think, is going to be good enough to win the North. And I mean, again, these are very quick projections, so I may be incredibly wrong about this. This was just gut instinct. Like I saw the first matchup and I went with my gut feeling. With that being said, obviously I went way more in depth when I analyzed the Lions, but to me, the Vikings are going to finish first with like 9-10 wins. I think the Lions finish second with 7-8 wins. I think the Chicago Bears finish third with 6-7. And then I genuinely think without Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers are the worst team in this division. Bengals are a train wreck. I pray for Joe Burrow. I do too. I just don't think the Bengals coaching staff is all that good, to be totally honest. Brett, I've not seen Brett in here before. He says we need to hire Sam Brown's dad and Swift's dad for strength and conditioning coaches. That would low key not even be that bad of a move. They're both units. They're both really big guys. So I wouldn't. I mean, they stay in shape. I'll say that. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely did not expect to come into this predicting the North, but the North has a brutal schedule this year. The North has some rough teams. Most of them play the Chiefs. There's just the Packers that get to play Kansas City. That's funny. I guess because they both finished first a season ago. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, based off that, I have the Minnesota Vikings at 9 wins. I have the Chicago Bears at 7 wins. I have the Green Bay Packers at 5-6 wins. And I had the Lions, as I said, 7-8, 8-9, somewhere in there. So, I mean, the North, I think, is going to be a weaker division this year in general, and 9-10 wins in a 17-game season might be good enough to steal a North title. And in saying that, I don't think the Lions are going to be contending for the North, but if they have a good season, if they truly overachieve, I don't think there's a reason that they can't win the North. I don't think there's a really big-time team standing in their way to stop them from winning it. So who do you believe gets fired first with all the new head coaches? Matt Nagy might get fired. Matt Nagy. Or are you talking about just the head coach that got hired this year? Gets fired first with all the new coaches. If you're talking about just like the head coaches that were signed this year, David Culley will probably get fired first. I think he's just a placeholder, and even right now, people just look at him as a placeholder, the Texans head coach. Nick Sirianni, to me, is going to get fired pretty soon. I don't think he's going to be very good as a head coach. As much as this might be kind of a hot take, I don't think Urban Meyer is going to do all that well in the NFL. I think he's more of a college guy, and I think he's going to get his players to play well. I think he's a smart football guy, and I think he'll go back to the college ranks eventually. I don't think he's cut out to be an NFL coach. Just based off what I've seen, some of the questionable things, I think he would be the third one to get fired if they get fired at all. But definitely the Texans and Eagles head coaches. How much longer are you going for? I don't know. I have no idea. I was planning on staying on here for, probably close to 2 hours was going to be my goal, but we are only an hour in, so I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I'll go for as long as you guys are here, I guess. That got hired this year. Yeah, so I think David Culley will be the first. I think Nick Sirianni will be the second. And if there is a third head coach to get fired, I think it's going to be Urban Meyer. Swift's dad could be ADT. I mean, maybe that could possibly. He's a big guy. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, so that's interesting. I like genuinely I did not expect to do that. I'd never looked at the schedules of the North teams before outside of the Detroit Lions. That's really interesting. Again, that's a gut feeling. If I went more in depth, I'm sure some things would be fine-tuned and changed, but that's interesting to me. That's very, very interesting. Um, I can say the same about the Falcons. They do have a direction. I think I don't know. I like Arthur Smith though. Like Arthur Smith to me isn't like the best head coach. He's kind of I don't know. I feel like he was more hyped up than Dan Campbell, but I also think Dan Campbell's had a better offseason, and I think he's building a better team. But I think Arthur Smith will make it. I think Arthur Smith will be fine. Maybe not this year. I don't think Arthur Smith will get up to a hot start, but I think in a couple years he'll have his team, and I think he'll be fine as a head coach personally. Now, who has the most success out of all the head coaches? I believe that the Chargers head coach, whose name's escaping me, I want to say Brandon Staley, but that could be incorrect. We'll look it up. Hold on. Brandon Staley, I'm almost certain is the Chargers' new head coach. I'm almost certain of it. Give me a minute. Yep, he is. I think Brandon Staley has the best success of all the new head coaches. And I say that because obviously he's going into a pretty good situation. And I will add this to the screen right now, and I will go to Chargers depth chart because I genuinely believe, and I'll go back to your comment in just a second when prior about the Falcons not having any direction, because that I do agree with you with. Right now, it seems like they don't have much of a direction. But the Los Angeles Chargers, I think, are a team that is going to be very, very good. Right? So they have Justin Herbert, and this is just the roster that Brandon Staley is going in with. As I zoom in to this. So that's fine. Oh, that's a little close. That's very close. Let's back it up. All right, so you can read that. So I think the Chargers are going to be the best. I think the Chargers and Brandon Staley are going to have the most success of all the head coaches that were hired this year because they have genuinely a very good team. Justin Herbert, of course, coming off a Rookie of the Year campaign, record-breaking season when he didn't even start the season as the QB1. Chase Daniels is a fine backup quarterback. Shouldn't have to play a ton, but even if he does. And then Easton Stick, I think, is, he is what he is. He's a fine backup quarterback. I think Chase Daniels is only there to be a mentor. I think there's that. And Austin Eckler is a very good running back. I'd say top 15 when he's healthy. Justin Jackson is okay. I wouldn't say he's great, but I wouldn't say he's bad. Keenan Allen is a top 5 route runner in the NFL. He is a very good player. Mike Williams is a phenomenal player. He is really good as well. Big body jump ball guy with some speed. So Justin Herbert has weapons. And Jared Cook's older, but he's still fine. And then they have Rashawn Slater, a first-round pick who I'm still very high on. Of course, he didn't go to the Lions, but I'm still very high on him as a player and as a starting guy. Brian Bulaga from the Packers is a fine starting tackle, and Corey Linsley is an all-pro center. Ode Ibushi is questionable. Left guard is questionable. But, if you go into a first-year head coaching position with a franchise quarterback, a franchise running back, 2 really good franchise wide receivers, an older, aging, but still, an older, aging, but still very good player in Jared Cook. You go in with a first-round pick at left tackle, an all-pro center, and a, very quality starting right tackle. That is a fine start. That is a fine offense that you can win games with. And then you go over to the defense where, he's going to have influence as well, where I think he's a defensive coach even. Jerry Tillery is a good player. Linval Joseph is an old but good player. Justin Jones, I'm not quite sure. But, I mean, this is the only guy I don't know about is Justin Jones. Joey Bosa, we all know, is good. Kenneth Murray is good. Kaiser White, I'm not sure about. Uchenna Nwosu is a good player. Chris Harris is a good player. Derwin James, when healthy, is very good. And Nasir Adderley is very good. So the only question marks on the offense are the guards. The only question marks on the defense is maybe Justin Jones, maybe Kaiser White, and arguably Michael Davis, and maybe Uchenna Nwosu. But I think Nwosu's fine. So with that being said, he doesn't even have to do a whole lot. His staff is good. The talent that he's walking into, I think, is the best of any head coach, and he has shown more. He's shown that he's more than competent to run and build up the team, right? I mean, he signed Corey Linsley. He signed or drafted Rashawn Slater. Like they had a good draft, and then I believe didn't Asante Samuel Jr. come here too? Yeah, Asante Samuel Jr. is their cornerback 3. He's going to be their slot. So he's even going to probably take over for Michael Davis at some point. So even then, that's not a question mark anymore. I think he's going to have the most success. I think that Robert Saleh is going to have success too. I really like the staff that they're building. I like his coaching staff in New York more so than the roster he has in place. But at the same time, I like Zach Wilson. 1 second. Hey, no. You're not barking. Sorry, my dog saw something outside. But you look at the Jets, right? Robert Saleh is a good coach. He's probably the best coaching candidate from this staff. From this carousel, if you want to call it that. Zach Wilson's a good player. Their offensive line is okay. I wouldn't say it's great, but Elijah Vera Tucker, their second pick, is good. Mekhi Becton is a phenomenal left tackle. I'm trying to go through the roster in my head, which I don't know why I'm doing that, because I can literally go look up the Jets. I can go see their roster right here in front of me. But I think that Robert Saleh is going to be fine. I think Robert Saleh is going to be very good. Obviously, the New York Jets. I don't really care about the Newcastle Jets. But if you go to the roster, I think Saleh is going to see some success. Not quite as much, especially not early. But I think he's more than capable of building a team. His coaching staff is very good. I will say his coaching staff is really, really good. And because of that, I think they're going to have success. Now, if you go to their depth chart, and I'll put this back on the screen for you guys, this is not really Lions anymore, but that's fine. I enjoy talking football. Zach Wilson's a good player. Tevin Coleman's a good player. Corey Davis is good. Corey Davis and Denzel Mims, even 3. Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, and Jamison Crowder, I think, are going to be a underrated wide receiver trio, but a very good one, especially with Elijah Moore being your 4th and Keelan Cole being your 5th. That's a very solid wide receiving group. So I know he brought in Corey Davis. I know he drafted Elijah Moore, so that's good. That's a good, that's 2 really good wide receivers that have been added. Chris Herndon is fine. Mekhi Becton's great. Elijah Vera Tucker is good. Morgan Moses is okay, but aging. So really, those are your 2 question marks there on the offense, is Connor McGovern and Greg Van Roten. And then you go to the defense. Carl Lawson's good. Sheldon Rankins is good. Quinnen Williams is great. Vinny Curry is fine. Blake Cashman's okay. CJ Mosley's good. Jared Davis, we all know Jared Davis. I think he's great. Some people don't. Ashton Davis is very good. Marcus May is very good. Bryce Hall is very good. So on the defense, you really have a question mark at left cornerback, maybe right cornerback, maybe will linebacker, maybe Vinny Curry. And then on the offense, you have your center and right guard. So he's got a solid roster going into year 2 or year 1 as well. I think he's going to see success. My bad, they don't. Yeah, he's talking about the Falcons not having direction. Bro, they have Lombardi. Campbell's got a better staff, though I don't disagree. And then I love Zach Wilson, says one price for you. I like Zach Wilson as well. I think Zach Wilson can be the best quarterback from this class personally. Not that he will be, and I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to be, but I think he can be the number 1 player. I think he can be the number 1 player from this class, but absolutely I think he can be the number 1 quarterback from this class. But with that being the case, I also think that Dan Campbell is going to be the 3rd most successful head coach. I think, ESPN's goofing. I think Dan Campbell will be the 3rd most successful head coach of all of the head coaches that were signed this year. And I'm going to, obviously we've talked about Dan Campbell a lot, but the Lions roster isn't It went to the NBA when I asked for the NFL. That's unfortunate. But like the Lions are not a bad football team like people would have you believe. The Lions have built up a good staff. The Lions have Jared Goff, who's a solid quarterback. DeAndre Swift, who's a good running back. Their wide receiver core is not great, but it's not horrible. Their offensive line is great. Their defensive line is really good. Their secondary is very talented. With the coaches and with the talent that he's brought in, I think Dan Campbell has improved the Lions more than any rookie head coach has done this season. 1 second. Going out. Go on. But I think, like I said, I think Dan Campbell has improved the Lions, and Brad Holmes, of course, had a large part in this as well. I believe that the Lions' new GM and head coach have improved the Lions more than any other head coach and GM have done at all this season. And that's not even just rookie coaches. That's not even just first-year coaches. That's every coach in the NFL. Of all 32 teams, I believe the Lions have improved the most overall out of anybody. I think the Lions have had the most productive offseason in the NFL. And maybe we'll have to make a video on that in its entirety. Maybe if you guys want to see it, I've been thinking about doing one of those deep dives on the Lions. Like one of those hour-long videos where we just go over everything. We go over the staff. We go over every player, every coaching member, their schedule, roster predictions, their depth, their health, all those different. Like we go really, really in-depth with this team and just go crazy with it. That'd be fun. I think that'd be an awesome video. That would take a lot of work and probably cause me some stress, but I think that'd be so fun. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. But the Lions, I think, are a very, very good football team. They are an underrated football team. So, I think he's going to have the third most success. Now, One Pride 40, one of the most active members right now, says, so where's our biggest hole? I would say our biggest hole as a team, I'd say running back, or not running back, I would say top end wide receiver as a whole, right? That true dominant X wide receiver. And not that you need that wide receiver to be successful, but of course it doesn't hurt, right? I'd say the Lions number one wide receiver as a whole, because I don't think Tyrell Williams is a true number one wide receiver in the NFL, but he doesn't need to be. That's not what I was saying. Wide receiver is a need for the Lions, but it's not an end all be all for the Lions season. So I'd say wide receiver is a hole for the Lions right now. That's really my only hole on the offense, right? Because our tight ends are fine. Our offensive line is great. Our quarterback is fine, even if he's just a placeholder. And our running backs are, even really good, I would say. On the defense, I'd say we have more holes. Linebacker, I think, is one of them because Jamie Collins is older. Alex Anzalone has not been a full-time starter, and we don't know exactly what we're getting with him. Derek Barnes is a fourth-round selection. Jelani Tavai isn't great. I'd say linebacker is a hole, but I wouldn't say it's like a horrible positional group in its entirety. And then I think the obvious answer after that is safety. I would say safety is probably the Lions' biggest hole right now on the team. But with that being said, I think there's also some potential with the safety room. The safety room, I think, is very shallow based off what's been proven. Based off what's been proven by the Lions, Tracy Walker has shown flashes, but has not shown consistency. And whether you want to blame that on scheme or Matt Patricia or just Tracy Walker himself, Tracy Walker has shown flashes and not consistency. Dean Marlowe had one good season a year ago without a lot of playing time. One good season does not warrant me saying that he's going to be a great player for the Lions. Will Harris was a third-round selection in 2018 and really has struggled for a majority of his NFL career. And even though he looks good in camp, mini camp and NFL games are two very different things. Will Harris looked great in the preseason his rookie year and not so great after that. So there's that, right? Those are really your three safeties that are almost guaranteed to make the roster because the depth isn't fantastic. And then you get onto your other safeties, right? You get onto your, let's say, Bobby Price. Bobby Price is a ball of clay. Bobby Price, when everything goes well and if everything works out, Bobby Price has the potential and has the skill set and the tools to be an all-pro caliber safety. I'm not even not that that's going to happen, but Not that that's going to happen necessarily, but I think he has the potential to do it. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to say that our safety core is great because we have a ball of clay prospect that's played 25 snaps in his NFL career. Same thing goes with Jalen Elliott, the second-year player out of Notre Dame who plays the safety position. He's a good player. He's a good leader, but at the same time, he's not played a single snap of NFL play yet. So for me to say that he has upside or potential is realistic, but for me to put 100% faith in him is not so realistic and is not going to, put me in a position where I'm not going to look the smartest, and I'm probably going to be wrong if I were to tell you that Jalen Elliott's going to be the fix-it for our defense. Brett says, we lost the biggest hole in Patricia, otherwise safety or linebacker. I get it. I get it. But like looking at safeties, right? I don't even know Goodwin, Wegbu. Honestly, not even 100% sure who this is. But right, strong safety. Will Harris, I think, has potential. CJ Moore is fine. He's more of a special teams guy than anything else. Bobby Price is an athletic monster. Jalen Elliott has potential, especially has really good leadership qualities. Tracy Walker is a good safety. Dean Marlowe is a solid safety. Deshaun Amos, I think, has potential as well. The UDFA out of Virginia. But like, it's not a proven core. It's not a solidified core. And because of that, I would have to say our biggest hole is at safety. I think, excuse me, I believe the argument can be made for linebacker. And I'm not even going to put Romeo or Trey Flowers in the linebacker discussion because to me, they're not linebackers. They're still defensive ends. They're still edge rushers because that's what they are. But looking at the left inside and right inside linebacker or your Mike backer position, some would say, I don't think Romeo's going to be a Will. I think he's going to be more of a Jack, but it doesn't matter. That's not what we're here for. So you have, Jelani Savai, who has dropped weight, and you showed some flashes his rookie season. You have Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who's an athlete who's pretty good at special teams and has shown some things in the preseason, but I wouldn't rely on Jalen Reeves-Maybin to be my starting linebacker. Derek Barnes, I think, has a lot of potential, and I think will develop well, but I'm not going to rely on a fourth-round rookie to start at linebacker for me. Tavante Beckett, I think, has some qualities, and I have a video coming out on him at some point. But I'm not going to rely on a UDFA rookie of all things to start at linebacker for me. Jamie Collins is a solid starter. He's a good player, but even he had some problems last year, especially when it came to missing tackles. Alex Anzalone, as I said, is good. He's talented, but at the same time has never really been a full-time starter. And then Sean Deion Hamilton is kind of your last linebacker to the point where, he's good. He's a solid player, but he's never really been a full-time starter either. So I would say because Jamie Collins has played, because Jelani's flashes, because Alex has shown good things, because Jalen has shown some things, and because we have some high upside young players, I would say that linebacker is not our biggest hole, but I don't think that's the greatest position either. Will Harris will hopefully have a huge bounce back year with the new coaching staff. Yeah, I think he will. He sounded really good. He's sounding really good from everything that I've heard, but again, I'm not going to rely on Will Harris, and I'm not going to be super excited about Will Harris to start all of our games because of what I've seen from him in his first 2 seasons. Now, one probably for says if we win 8 games, free agents are going to be swarming. I don't disagree. And then he says playing at playing at 268 is ridiculous. He's talking about Jelani Tavai's playing weight a season ago. That playing weight is heavier than what Romeo Okwara played at a season ago. So Matt Patricia thought it would be a good idea. If you are unaware of the story, Matt Patricia and Corey Unlin thought it would be a fantastic idea if our starting, or at least one of our more influential Mike linebackers, played at a heavier weight than their starting defensive end. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally. That is not something that I would make the decision as a head coach, but that's the decision that they sent Jelani to play with, right? They had Jelani Tavai playing around 270 pounds as a Mike linebacker, a position where you need to move and change direction very well, very fast, and very agilely. Did not go that well. It did not go very well for our boy, right? Jalen Tavai did not play very well a season ago. It wasn't great. It was not phenomenal for Jelani Tavai, but he's dropped significant pounds. I believe right now he sits at 150. He dropped 18 pounds and has actually, I believe, is maybe even below that. I know his goal was 145 or even closer to 140 if possible. So, I mean, he's looking to drop 30 pounds this offseason, which is a tall task. Like that is a difficult task, but it's something that he has tried very hard to do, and it is something that so far he has found success at. Right now, I believe he is close to 20 pounds. Maybe he's even past that 20-pound mark. So he's really, really solid. Flowers and Big V. Oh, Flowers and Big versus Gross contracts. Oh, my fault. There's no comma there. That's why I just read it wrong. Flowers and Big V's gross contracts will potentially be off the books next year, so we can afford some good players. That's also true. Trey Flowers, I believe, as a June 1st cut next year, is going to free up like $12 million with limited dead cap, and then Big V, I believe, is the same way. I believe it frees up 10 to 12 million, but with a little bit more significant dead cap money. So yeah, so those guys could both be off as well. Quinn was hilarious with bad contracts, 100%. You want to kick it up on Madden sometimes? Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I'd play anybody on Madden. I'm pretty good, but I think I'm pretty good. I play all right, but yeah, for sure. 100%. If anybody ever wants to play me on Madden, like low key, just hit me up on Twitter and I'll play Madden with you. Like I'm 100% down to do that. Maybe we'll even make a fun video out of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think our biggest weakness is safety. Our cornerbacks, I actually like what we're done with the cornerbacks. Jeff, Amani, Quentin, Affetti, Corn, like just Corn, Alex Brown, and Mike Ford. I don't know why Mike Ford's behind Alex Brown. I don't think that's right. I mean, obviously this is not the final depth chart, but our cornerbacks are good. Our cornerbacks are talented. Our outside linebackers are fine, according to ESPN. Our Sam and our Wilt linebackers are very good pass rushers. And then our right defensive end, our nose tackle, Aleem's going to start probably. And our left defensive end being Michael Brockers, they're all fine. Sucks that Jay Sean's on suspension, but it is what it is. And then the offense, like, again, they're really, really solid. Great offensive line. Great tight end. Not a lot to worry about. Also, what I thought Marcus Williams just signed a big contract. No? Did he get tagged? Because I know he was a free agent this year. I assume that's Marcus. Oh, I don't know why I put Detroit. I might have just auto-corrected. Did he just sign a contract? Or was that just a tag? Okay, so he must have signed a tag. I mean, if he's available, I'd love to go get him. If he's available, I would 100% love to get Marcus Williams. He plays very well, very big part of the Saints secondary. I would not be opposed at all to signing Marcus Williams. I think he is a top 15 safety in the NFL. Him and Tracy Walker would be a very good safety duo, I will say. I don't know what the safety class looks like other than that, but or the safety fringe class looks like after that, but 100%. I would love to sign Marcus Williams next year if he wants to come to Detroit. Oh my God, Jesse Bates would be elite. I love Jesse Bates more than anything. So Marcus Williams did just get tagged. Yeah. Jesse Bates is a monster. Jesse Bates, I don't know what his statistics look like, and obviously stats aren't everything, but I'm curious. Now I'm just curious to see what he does. Yeah, okay. So he's pretty freaking good. I will say that. Let us see. All right. I got to even zoom in a little bit more for you guys so you can see it. All right, there we go. That's perfect. Stay there. So Jesse Bates has played 3 seasons. In 2018, he had 111 tackles, he had 7 passes defended, and 3 interceptions, one of which he took back for a touchdown. And in 2019, also playing in 16 full games, he had 100 total tackles, but he also had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery that he added to the list, had 9 passes defended, and 3 more interceptions. And then in 2020, he had 109 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 15 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. Jesse Bates is that is about as consistent as you can get for a player. If he wants to come to Detroit, I would love, imagine a 3 safety set with Tracy Walker, Jesse Bates, and Marcus Williams. That would be insane. And that would be a lot of money to put into your safety core, especially considering you have to re-sign Tracy Walker at some point, either this season or next season. That, if you run a 3 safety set with those 3 safeties and Jeff Okudah and Amani on the outside, or Jeff Okudah and Quentin Dunbar on the outside, who's passing on that? Who is successfully passing on a defense with that kind of a secondary? I think the answer is nobody. I'm pretty certain the answer is not a single soul in the NFL would be able to pass on that defense. Now, personally, I would take either one. I would take, I think Jesse Bates would be my number 1 option, but Marcus Williams is very good as well. I think Marcus Williams, I believe he had a couple seasons with 4 interceptions or something like that, but he's very good. They're both phenomenal players. I would take either of them to pair with Tracy Walker. And if either of them came to Detroit next offseason, that right there fixes your safety. That right there fixes your starting safety. Dean Marlowe and Will Harris are your primary backups. That's a good 4 safeties right there. Maybe Bobby Price works out. Like I said, maybe Bobby Price works out. Maybe Will Harris takes that big jump. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously. But, yeah, I would take either one of them. And actually, I think we can look at it. 2022 NFL free agency. Has anybody signed Malik Hooker? Nobody has signed Malik Hooker yet, but I know he was talking with Dallas. And I know there's a couple other teams he was talking with. I want to say Pittsburgh, but that might not be true. I haven't heard a whole lot about him to Detroit. I believe they brought him in for a visit or they talked to him. But that could be incorrect as well. So I don't believe anybody has signed Malik Hooker just yet. No, here's what I would do. Re-sign Walker, sign Bates, and draft a safety. Yeah, that works right there. That's a solid. That works for me. That works for me. I just want to see some of the top free agents next year. So you have Von Miller, who, if I were the Lions, I would not sign Von Miller, but hey, you never know. Brandon Scherf could low-key be like the finishing touch to our offensive line, kick out Big V. Allen Robinson could be a big-time free agent player, guy from Detroit, Michigan. Chandler Jones could be nasty. Chris Godwin could be a big-time player if the Lions went and signed him. Dante Fowler. Obviously, Devontae Adams is 30. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Ben Roethlisberger is probably going to retire. Tyrann Mathieu, 30. God, it's like the end of an era, and that's kind of sad. Cam Robinson, I wouldn't go after. Offensive lineman, I'm not going to worry about. Whitney Merciless is a player that's older. Brandon Graham, Stephon Gilmore, Calais Campbell, JPP, Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill literally just got an extension. I don't know what this is about. Akeem Hicks, Devin McCourty, Teddy Bridgewater. Will Fuller's a free agent, apparently. I don't think that's true. Marcus Williams and Marcus May are both free agents. I would take either of them. I'd take either of those two. Next year's safety class is deep. Is it? I would take Wyatt Teller. I don't know a lot about. That's kind of your free agent class. Kyle Fuller, apparently. Jameson Crowder, Dominic Sue could come back. Anthony Barr. There's some solid players out here. There's some solid players. NFL 2022 draft class. I don't know much about the draft class. Like, I'm genuinely being serious. I don't know where the best place would be to go. I guess probably just NFL mock draft simulator, because I know the one I always use, the Draft Network. I know theirs is updated. Theirs updated like literally the day after the draft. So I know they're gonna have this year's prospects as we wait and as it loads. But yeah, I think safety is a position that'll be addressed next year. I think linebacker could potentially be addressed next year. Let's just say the Lions, because they think we're gonna have the number 1 pick, which is fine. It is what it is. But I think the big positions for next year. What? I literally did this the day after the draft, and they had the new prospects. Let me see for a second. Yes, I want to exit the draft. I know what happens in the 2021 draft. Come on now. But I don't know. I'm not very familiar with the 2022 class. If I go to big boards, is it possible for me to it doesn't matter. No, that's still Trevor Lawrence's class. What the heck? I don't know, man. If I go 2022 mock draft, maybe that'll work. I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, that should be fine. But yeah, I think you could definitely see safety being addressed next year. That's not really what I was looking for. There's no way the Lions pick Justine. There's no way they pick Justin Ross at 3 and pass on Kayvon. This is a weird draft class. Bro, did Kayvon Thibodeau die? That's weird. But okay, whatever. I'll figure it out another time, maybe. But yeah, safety is definitely something I could see them addressing, whether that be Jesse Bates, whether that be even Marcus May, I think is a good player. Would you take Bates over Williams, though? I would personally. I would take Bates over Williams. Not that I think the gap is that significant, but I do think there is a gap there between the two. And I would say that Jesse Bates is just slightly more consistent than Williams. I would say Jesse Bates is a little better, a little bit more consistent, and I'd say Jesse Bates is just a player that I would personally prefer over Marcus Williams. But by no means would I be mad. I'd love for Marcus Williams to come to Detroit. I'd love for that to happen again. Or Marcus May. Marcus May is probably my third safety out of those 3. But again, I'd still love to have him in Detroit because he's a talented player, not super old. Obviously, Marcus May is a little older than the other 2, but all 3 of them are young, talented players. And I'd love all 3 of them to be in Detroit. I'd lose my mind. If we took Jesse Bates over Williams, or if we just got any of the 3 in general, you'd lose your mind, because that's funny. I just realized this shirt looks black. At least from my point of view, this shirt looks black. It's like not a bright green, but it's a solid green shirt. I'm sure you've seen it before. I just realized it looks really dark in this lighting, but that's fine. Not a big deal. See, Brett's got me curious now about Malik Hooker, so we're going to look at that next. Malik Hooker. When he's on the field, Malik's a good player. And plus, I don't even think they re-sign him because the Bengals are dumb. They probably not. They'll probably extend Jamar Chase after his first season and be out of money. What's up with Malik? Yep, Malik Hooker's still looking for a new team. 10 best unsigned free agents, Malik Hooker. Ravens connected to free agent Malik Hooker. Sense for Ravens. So it seems like the Ravens are there. I also see he's visited the Cowboys, Dolphins, and Steelers. So the Steelers were one of the teams. The Lions were not. I don't know. Malik Hooker, I think, is interesting. If he stays healthy, he's a very good player. But yeah. Oh, if we took Ross over Thibodeau, I'd lose my mind too. I'd be so upset, but it is what it is, man. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen. Nobody even knows what the order is going to be. Nobody can even get close to guessing the order of the NFL. So maybe that's another video we do, is we just go through and we try to just predict every NFL game. That'd be kind of fun, actually. But that would definitely be for another live stream because I don't know. That's just not what we're talking about today. That is just not what we're doing today. But yeah, Kayvon's a monster. I will say that. Kayvon Thibodeau is crazy. I don't know, man. Safety would be fun. What's the Bengals cap space look like? I don't know. We've hit a wide range today. I like it. I love it, actually. Especially when there's not a lot of football to talk about. That would have to be it. Over the cap. Man, we've had a fun stream today. I enjoyed it, man. We got pranked by Motor City. What's it? Motor City Sports. Yeah, that's what it is. We got pranked by him, which was fun. We got talked about the Bengals. We've talked about Malik Hooker. We've talked about safeties. We've talked about new coaches. Man, we are having some fun today. The Bengals are sitting at $17 million right now in 2021 cap space. And yes, I will go to 2022 because obviously that would have to be their cap for next year, the cap they would use to sign or maybe pass possibly on. So they are projected to have $50 million next year. So they are pretty solid. I don't know why Trey Waynes is their top paid player, but that is what it is. That's just a Bengals thing to be doing. Trey Hendrickson, another guy that's highly paid. Joe Mixon, good player. I'm not going to lie. I don't know who Trey Hopkins is, and he's making $7 million a year. Jamar Chase and Chidobe Awuzie are fine. Von Bell's a good player. Von Bell's a player that I thought the Lions might be interested in, either last offseason or the offseason before that. Let's see. Xavier Suafilo. I'm not sure who that is. Brandon Wilson's making 2.5. Drew Sample's making 1.7. There's some interesting contracts on here. I was looking for Jesse Bates before I realized that he wouldn't be on here because they haven't re-signed him yet. Is Bates still on his rookie contract? He might be. Trey Waynes is making $15 million next year. That's wild. That's so funny. Which I don't know why. I don't know why the Bengals would sign with that much. Larry Ogunjobi, my favorite name in the NFL. CJ Uzomah, Chidobe. All right, so Jesse Bates is only making 2.8. I think he's definitely going to be looking for a big payday. I would assume the Bengals are going to re-sign him, but that's not a guarantee. That is a guarantee is the furthest thing from that. So they might let Bates walk now with 17 million. That's possible. I don't know what their free agent. Is there a thing for free agents or upcoming? I feel like there might be. That's just dead money. Okay. I wish Over the Cap had a section for like upcoming free agents. And maybe they do and I'm just missing it, but I don't know. I don't see it right now, but we'll see. He is on his rookie contract. Okay. I had to think back a minute. All right. So that is very interesting. He could be an interesting player for next offseason. He could be a guy that the Lions look to acquire. I mean, I would not be sad to get Jesse Bates wearing 30 in the Honolulu blue, or any number. Don't care. Not picky. So that could be an interesting one. That's an interesting safety to look at. Because that would absolutely fix our safety need, right? Tracy Walker and Jesse Bates would be nasty together. Then you have Will Harris and Dean Marlowe as your 3 and 4. That's a good safety tandem right there. My voice is kind of leaving me just a little bit if you can't tell. It's been a while since I've done this. Nice water. This depth chart's so interesting because Randy Bullock's obviously kicker 1. Now Williams is more likely to walk. That is true. That I believe is true. I'm not even gonna. What the heck is H? Obviously that's punter. I don't know what PK is, but I'm sure that's just place kicker probably. That's punter. That's punt returner, kick returner, long snapper. What the heck is H? Oh, you guys can't even see it. What the heck is Jack Fox and H? Like, I don't know what that is. And I don't know. There's no kickoff thing here. No kickoff specialist that from I can see. Oh, H is holder. Never mind. That makes sense. All right then. Never mind. I'm just dumb. That's all it is. I'm just dumb. That's all it is. But I think that's all we're gonna do today. People are kind of starting to get tired. It is 6:45. I have loved this stream today. Like I said earlier, I had so much fun today getting back and streaming. This is a stream that I wanted to get in today. I was trying to get one in last week, and things just didn't quite work out that way. Again, I've been busy with a lot of stuff in my life. I've been doing my best to get videos out. But with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for coming out. Some of you were late, some of you were on time. No hard feelings. I love all of you the more for being here. Really good turnout today. The Saints are broke. The Saints are always broke. The Saints are incredibly, incredibly broke, as my good buddy One Pride 40 is saying. But with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching this video. I appreciate it. I had so much fun coming back and streaming. It's going to be something that I'm going to try to do even more. Definitely at least once a week, if maybe not more, if you guys want to see it. So we're gonna take a vote on that maybe. But with all that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Excuse me. I'm gonna go get some dinner. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope to see everybody back tomorrow for some more Lions content. With all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions, baby. Let's get it.